Problem 15. What number plus 740 yields 11/20? So in this type of problems, we're going to have to use some of our vocabulary, like those translation parts. Recall what part means. Or what number. What number in this case is going to be our box. Plus is going to stand for the sign of the addition. Well, 740 is 740. Yields in this case is going to stand for our equal sign, 11/20. Now we ask, what are we missing where we have an addition statement and we're missing one of the parts or one of the terms? So if I want to find what this part here is, I must analyze and say, well, this is the sum or this is the total. Well, to find this missing part here, I need to subtract the total, which in this case will be that 11/20, minus the given term, or minus a part. Let's call this case the minus a part or minus a term. In this case, the total is going to be 11/20 minus 7/40, and we have to align this vertically. So if we align this vertically, it will be 11/20 minus 7/40. We need to find the LCD or the LCM between them. So let me make a space here and say, okay, 20 and 40. We have 20 here. Here's going to be 4 times 5, and this is going to be 2 times 2 times 5. Same idea with the 40. That will be 8 times 5, and this part here will be 4 times 2. Bring the 5 down, and this could be 2 times 2, 2, and the 5. So my LCD or LCM in this case will be, well, LCD will be, well, pick one of them. Let's pick what this full list here, and will be 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Is this 2 times 2 times 5 already included there? Well, let's make sure that. So this 2 times 2 times 5 should be already included in our LCD. I have the 2, and the 5 there, so I don't need to add anything. Therefore, my LCD should be everything. So it will be 2 times 2 times 2 times 5, which was 40. So let's make sure that we add in 40 here, convert this to 40. This times 2, and this already 40. What we will obtain here, let me erase this part here since we know what we're subtracting. So this part will be 22/40 minus 7/40. Let's subtract. 22 minus 5 is 15, minus 7 is 15, so we're left with 15/40. But is this part reduced to its lowest terms? Well, I think that 15 can be written as 3 times 5, and this 40 can be 8 times 5. Now you can see that you can cancel this part here, and you're left with 3/8. So what number plus 740 yields 120? The answer should be 3/8. Problem 16. The sum of 3/4 and 2/3 is what number? Once again, we have to recall our translation or our vocabulary part. So the sum, what does the sum mean? The sum is the result of adding two numbers. So if I'm doing the sum of 3/4 and 2/3, that means I need to do 3/4 plus 2/3. E stands for equal, and what number is going to be our box? So the sum will be the result of adding these two numbers. So let's add them up. 3/4 plus 2/3. They don't have the same denominator, so we have to find the same LCD. So between 4 and 3. 4 is 2 times 2, and this is a 3. So LCD will be, well, 2 times 2, you pick that. This 3 is not included, you put the 3 there. 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 should be 12. My LCD, the least common denominator, should be 12. And I got it right, equivalent fractions with denominator 12. So let's back to this addition. 4 times 3 give you 12. So in other words, you will have 9/12. and this part here I gotta multiply times 4 top and bottom. 2 times 4 should be 8. 8 over 12. We have to add them. They have the same denominator, so just add 9 plus 8 should be 17 over 12. 17 is a prime number, and 12 is 2 times 2 times 7, so your answer is 17 over 12. You might ask, but I can change this into improper fraction. Yes, you can. You're not required, as long as this part is reduced, because this 12 was 2 times 2 times 3, and this 17 is just 17 times 1. There is nothing to cancel out. Therefore, this is your final answer. Now, if you want to convert this into improper fraction, you can do it, but you're not required. So let's convert that into improper fraction. This part is optional. Optional. So how will we do? It will be 17 divided by 12, or 12 into 17 goes once. There's going to be 12. Subtract, that's 5. We use the clockwise method that we always do, and that should be 1 and 5, 12. So either way, that's your right answer. Okay, so make sure you find the right LCD, convert them to the same L denominator. Now, so you can add the numerator. 9 plus 8 is 17. Keep the same denominator. Reduce that if possible. If not, then just leave it like that. Problem 17. This is a word problem involving here. It says Carlos has worked at the hospital for 6.5 years. So they're giving us a fact there. We're giving that Carlos has worked 6.5 years. Pedro has worked there 2 3/4 more years than Carlos. How long has Pedro worked at the hospital? Well, the key word here is this part here, more than. Since I have more than, that probably involves that we're going to do some translation. Let me paraphrase that part. So the years that Pedro worked, I'm just going to write Pedro. So Pedro, the hours that he worked, or the years, Pedro's year is 2 3/4 more than Carlos. Well, Pedro, do we know? Say, how long has Pedro worked? We don't know how long has Pedro worked. So I'm going to put here a box. Do we know E stands for equal? 2 3/4. Well, 2 3/4 more than stands for addition. Carlos, do we know how many years that Carlos worked? Yes, 6.5. So this tells you that we have to use some addition. Well, because we're missing the sum, we're missing the total, we're missing the sum here, the total. So therefore we must just add them. So how are we going to add them? Let's see. Let me scroll this up and we're gonna work that out. So now let's add them up. So 2 3/4 plus 6.5. They don't have the same denominator, so let's find our LCD. LCD should be between 4 and 2. Well, this 4 is 2 times 2. My LCM should be 2 times 2, and these 2 is already included here, so my LCM or LCD in this case should be 4. So I gotta convert this into a 4. This is already a 4, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm just gonna rewrite it, but this part is not a 4, so I gotta multiply times 2 top and bottom, and I will obtain 6 2/4. Let's add them up again. Now 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 over 4, and 2 plus 6 is 8. And then we ask yourself once again, is this improper? Yes, this is an improper fraction. So let's do a division here. So it will be 5 divided by 4 will be 5 into 4. So we're gonna have to do 4 divided into 5. Goes once. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract that, give you 1. therefore it should be 1 and 1/4. Now you ask yourself once again, is this little part here reduced? Is this fraction part reduced? Yes, so we're done there. Therefore this part here, this 5 and 5/4 should be 1 and 1/4, and that 1 plus the 8 should give you 9 and 1/4. But let's recall what the problem says. Say, how long has Pedro worked at the hospital? So you say Pedro has worked 9 and 1/4 years. So that will be your answer. 9. Pedro has worked 9 and 1/4 years. So problem 18, they're asking you to find the perimeter of this triangle. Once again, what is the perimeter? The perimeter is the sum of all the sides of any geometric figure. So we have to add them up. So let's add them up. So let's align this vertically. Let's probably write this 3, 5 and 1/4, and 6 and 3/8. Now we gotta add them, but they don't have the same denominator. Once again, you find your LCD, your LCM, or LCD is the same thing between 4 and 8. This will be 2 times 2, 4 times 2, and this 4 itself is a 2 times 2 times 2. Therefore LCD should be 2 times 2 times 2, and this is 2 times 2 here is already included. Therefore the LCD should be just 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So I gotta convert each of these fractions into denominator 8, but these 4 must be multiplied times 2, and let's see what we obtain. Well, the 3 we didn't do anything, keep the 3. Here it's going to be 5 and 2/8, and this part here should be, well, it already has an 8, so we don't have to do anything. You just put 6 and 3/8. Add them up. 2 plus 3 is 5, 5/8. 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 6 should be 14. Now you ask yourself here, is this part an improper fraction? No. Okay, now is this reduced? Well, 5 is 5 times 1, and this 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So yes, it's already reduced. Therefore your final answer should be 14 and 5/8. But what was the question? Find the perimeter. So you say the perimeter is 4 and 5/8. What? Should be inches, because we're talking about inches, inches, inches. So therefore your perimeter should be inches. I'll put this part in red because so you remember this inches. Does not have the square word, because if you put the square inches, that you will be saying that you're having some area, and they're asking you for the perimeter, which is the distance around the geometrical figure or the sum of all the sides. So the perimeter is 14 and 5/8 inches. Problem 19, they're telling you Deborah wants to drive 40 miles today. So I'm not going to write the full problem here, so you have that in your handout. Say Deborah wants to drive 40 miles today, 400 miles today. So she wants to drive a total of 400 miles. And she has already gone 256 and 7/10 miles. How much further does she have to reach her goal? So pretty much, let's say, let me just analyze this part. You should have this. She has a total of 400 miles to go, but so far she only drive up to here. Let's say up to 256 7/10 of a mile. So what is this part that is missing? Well, see, we're missing one part of it. So if we're missing one part, we have to subtract the total minus the part. So in this case, what is the total? 400 minus the part, 256 and 7/10. Let's subtract that. And well, I cannot subtract 0 minus that. So I must borrow part here, so this will become now 399, and that full number, that number 1, the whole one here that you're having to borrow, will be actually 10 over 10 in order to match this denominator. Now 10 minus 7, I can do that, so that will be 3 over 10, and we have to do this subtraction. 9 minus 6 is 3, 9 minus 5 is 4, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So this is what she needs to still drive. Like this will be the part here. The 400 will go here. It will be 433 and 3/4 miles. That's what she needs to drive. So this is a word problem. So answer. Say, how much farther does she have to go to reach her goal? She has to go, right? She has to go. She has to, or she has to drive 143 and 3/10 miles more to reach her goal. And now this is problem 19. I would recommend you to add one more problem for problem 20. For problem 20 you probably want to review custom enhancement. So review custom enhancement of this chapter, of course, chapter 5, especially number line. So label the number line. So review that for problem number 20. There is no problem number 20 in this handout, so just do the review of the custom enhancement for number line. Okay, for problem, let's say problem number 20. We don't have a problem number 20, but add one type of number line into your review for this exam file. So you must do one number line. And again, review your LCD, because LCD or LCM is highly important. It's really important. If we have the LCD wrong, then everything is going to be wrong. So make sure you do your LCM, least common multiple or least common denominator, review factoring, and pretty much every single problem that we just covered today, and add one more problem for number line. Okay, so that will be for your exam for chapter 5. And do your best, do not leave anything in blank, and make sure you fill every single problem.